I'm waiting for you to know, just me, to see what I've become in life. With you in my head, I'm still holding on. I know we've come so far, it's easy to forget the time we spent. We're almost at the dawn, just you and me. We could be.
Alright guys, G91R3. We needed this plane for a long time. This is the plane that we should have had from day one. But instead, we got the G91 Pre-Series, which in its own right is a lot of fun. Then we got the G91R1. The R1 was, well, the same exact plane as we're flying right now, but it had 50 cals. And then they came up with the G91R4 as a premium for people who wanted to grind out the top tier Italians. And don't get me wrong, it's an okay plane. But it's the same thing as the R1. The only real difference is it carried a little bit more ordnance. It had these 4 pylons instead of 2. So R3 is more similar to the R4 than anything because it has the 4 pylons, which make it just a slight bit slower in the acceleration and a slight bit slower in the top speed, but not by much, and it's not really that noticeable. So here we are with the G91R3. This is, like I said, the same exact plane as all the rest. The only real difference is it has the DEFA cannons. It has 2 DEFA cannons in the nose, which are a night and day difference. When you come to War Thunder, everybody's very disappointed with 50 cals. You know, they get hits a lot, and you're lucky to get a kill with them a lot of times. Another thing worth noting is you don't get air-to-air missiles on this aircraft. If you wanted to get air-to-air missiles, you needed to fly the R4, which it got AIM-9Bs, I believe, and it got AS or AA Nords, which are a lot of fun, but they got nerfed. So unfortunately, here we are. This is right now going to be the best G91R you can fly. It's nothing like the YS. Don't even consider it even in the same category. Today I'm going to give you something a little bit different though. This is a very, very difficult match. My team crumbled very quickly, and I was trying to help out Turbo Nut here. It was just us. We were a 2-man squad. He's in a MiG-15. He's very competent in a MiG-15, and unfortunately he gets lurked by 2 players for a considerable amount of the match, which makes it unfortunate because my G91 does not climb that well, and on top of that, the energy retention is absolutely poor. So when these MiGs come down on me, and you know I might have to do a little bit of evasive maneuvers and maybe try and follow them back up to get a shot, I won't maintain that speed. I won't be able to follow them back up. So a MiG with altitude over a G91 is going to run circles around it. In this case, I got just enough speed. I'm actually catching up to him a little bit in the climb here. He probably doesn't see me, and then Turbo Nut takes care of him. So that's 1 down in our favor. And unfortunately, I see the fur ball. I really, really, really want to go get into that fur ball and start taking some people out, knocking the numbers down in my favor. But I don't. And unfortunately, it kind of made this match more difficult. So a combination of bad choices leads me to where I'm at. And now I only have a total of 4 people left on my team. So here we go. The epic carry. MiG-15 shoots at me, pulls off, and he pulls vertical. And this is what I was talking about with the absolutely poor energy retention. I am up really high. That MiG is going straight up. There is not a chance in hell I will ever keep up with him. So I really don't want to chase him at this point. I'm going to keep my nose somewhat level. I'm going to bait him down. I'm going to let Turbo Nut hang out here in the clouds and see if he can sneak up on him. So I'm just keeping my eyes out, looking around, making sure nobody else is coming. I look up and I see the MiG-15 is starting his approach on me again. So I've started into a spiral dive, just enough to keep his nose forced down. What happens is he will grab more speed than he actually wants, and it will be more difficult for him to maneuver. Couple easy rolls, and I pull back up on him. He pulls off. Now I will never be able to follow this vertical again, but I'm just going to pretend that I can. But this was enough to distract him. And he definitely has his focus on me right now. And Turbo Nut's sneaking up and hopefully has enough energy now to keep up with him. So I'm going to break off and I'm going to pull down. Hopefully he's looking at me. I know there's not much I could do in this fight because he has the energy advantage over me. And I'm looking at my team, struggling to hold on against, well, pretty much an entire enemy team. So I break off and I head over and I decide to try and pick a few people off in this fur ball. They're all nice and low, which should make it fairly easy. Well, at least I thought it would. So as I'm flying away, Turbo's over there to do his own thing with that guy. We're pretty sure it's just one up there, so I figure it's time. We gotta start knocking down some people. We're not gonna win this fight. And, you know, I apologize to my team because I kind of left them hanging, and I probably could have got these guys down earlier, but this is what it is. So we make our approach. I see the G91 on the right. I just kind of keep him out of the corner, dodge his shots. He's going to lose a lot of speed trying to pull up on that, so I'm not too concerned. Now he should be nice and slow. I got a MiG-15 below. I've got another G91, and then that other MiG-15 is kind of flying away. Coming through the turn, I see another G91 pulling up on me, so I start going into a spiral climb here. This is otherwise known as an energy trap. I'm doing subtle turns, easy climb, and what's going to happen is these guys are going to be forced to keep their nose up if they want a shot on me. It's really not a good move on their part, but they are falling right for the trap. And so I'm watching them, and I can tell that they're starting to get slow. One guy gets unspotted, unfortunately, and now the other guy gets unspotted, and this is kind of cancer. But these guys are falling for the trap, and I can see that they're about to stall. So I pull over and drop down on top. The lower guy pulled off. I can see him in the distance. This guy is extremely slow. He is not going to be able to dodge my shot. Hook, line, and sinker. He is gone. All right, so one G91 down. I see the other one off my right. I make a slight turn and head over his direction. I know that coming out of that turn, out of that energy trap that I put him in before, he's going to be really slow energy. So we make our approach on him. Coming into the head-on, we try to get our shot. We unfortunately miss it. And he tries to take another shot, and I pull in tight. And this is kind of a misjudgment on my part because I didn't realize how slow he was. I thought maybe I could get inside that turn, but no biggie. Turn back in towards him for the second pass, and I realized there is a 163, and I absolutely despise 163s. So I made a decision to get the hell out of here. And this was a really tough decision because, unfortunately, I don't have enough energy to outrun these guys, and it put me right into the guns of the R4 behind me. But thankfully, my roll rate is just as good as his. I can juke his shots. I'm just trying to drag it out a little bit because I know I got this 262 above me, and the 163, I'd rather have speed when I fight him. So at this point, 160 is getting really close. I'm just juking him. 151s are actually pretty slow rounds, so they're easy to dodge. Try to get the shot in the reversal, missed it, decided I still got a 163 behind me. I do not want to give up my energy, so I continue on, and I start heading towards the airfield. Now at this point, it's not that I want to camp the airfield. It's not my intentions to do that, but hopefully it discourages one of them and gives me a room to reset. So the G91 is being strafed by the 262 C2B. He could be a C1A, I don't remember exactly. But it's giving me room to get away. He pops a missile at me, easy dodge, and I just continue on. So opening up my distance between these two guys, the 163 is not too interested in strafing the airfield. The G91, I'd love to get rid of him at this point, but I just want to continue on and open up some more distance because Turbo Nut is coming in with two MiG-15s in tow. So we're going to try and help each other out. I ask him to take my target, and I go ahead and I try to take one of his targets. Now, fuel is a big deal right now because I took min fuel, and unfortunately, I have to fly this plane min fuel because it is really bad with max fuel. It rips. So anyways, Turbo's making his pass on mine. I try to make a pass on the MiG-15. Gives me a nice clean broadside. I'm landing up, and I don't know how that didn't hit. But I stay aggressive with him. The R4 doesn't have a shot on me, and I'm going to stick with him. Try and get this MiG-15 off of Turbo's butt. At least make it a little bit better for him. At the same time, the other guy's coming in. Really not concerned. He's not lining up a shot on me. I'm going to try and clean Turbo's butt. Call me toilet paper. Everybody likes a clean butt, right? Fuel is running low. 125 on fuel means I actually have really good power. He pulls vertical, which gives me a chance to get a shot, and we get rid of him. The other MiG-15 drops in behind me. It gives me room to pull back down on top of him. Trying to land a shot real quick. Really hope that was going to hit. But we chase him a little bit, try and get rid of him. The other two guys are, well, the 163 is coming back in. He's getting kind of aggressive. He sees the opportunity because the airfield is occupied. And of course, airfield AA doesn't really do much. I'm trying not to camp it. I'm really just trying to help Turbo here. We're far enough away, we should be safe. But that 163 is kind of a pain in the butt right now because he has an energy advantage over me. Rocket planes. But I really want to help out my 262 here, and I'm really low fuel, and there is no way in hell that I'm going to be able to land and get a fresh load of fuel with a 163 strafing me. Thankfully, Turbo, being the fine pilot he is dragging the MiG-15 and the 163 away from the airfield, so that means I have one man here to fight at the airfield. Being low fuel, this gives me the opportunity to try and get really aggressive and kind of get away with it. We pull straight up, try and take the shot. Didn't land it. That's unfortunate, but we're going to keep going. At this point, I'm at 30 seconds fuel. I'm thinking, okay, 262 is going to drag him away, and I should be safe to land real quick. I kind of get a little bit more ballsy because I have a feeling that the 262 is not going to be able to handle this guy. So I back off on the throttle a little bit here. I'm just going to kind of loiter for a second, just really saving on fuel just in case I need that last second burst. And I tell, my 262 that I'm pretty much out of fuel. And I'm asking him to drag the 163 back towards me because at this chance, this is the one opportunity that we have to tag team this guy and try and get rid of him. I am super low on fuel. This is a very desperate maneuver. He's glued to the 262, and then he pulls off. Nope, he's still not looking. Try and get the shot. Oh, come on. That really should have landed. But hey, I'm almost out of fuel. I don't have any options. 163 is going to outturn me at these slow speeds. And he could have flown away. And I thought this was over. But he pulled this maneuver right here, which allowed him to get into my guns and save the day. Luck. Pure freaking luck. And now Turbo's dragging the rest of them away. I'm clear to land and grab a fresh fuel load. So let's go ahead and fast forward. So I just took off and now we're flying away. I'm flying out over the ocean because I have two guys off a runway heading. The 262 is keeping him busy for the moment. I do want to help him, but Turbo is out here with this MiG-15 ahead of me. I'm telling Turbo that I should be clear because these guys off to my left are preoccupied. I told Turbo, go ahead and drag the MiG-15 towards me. I should be alright. By the time he gets to me, I will be up to speed. And I will be able to grab a little bit of altitude. So I'm heading to help Turbo out. We fast forward a little bit more, and as I'm making my approach up to him, I see the 262 is dragging the 163 out. Now, when I approach a 163, I want to have a lot of speed because they top end, they don't do more than 1,000 kilometers an hour on the deck, and if he tries to follow me, it's an absolute waste of fuel. At this point, I don't think he sees me yet because I'm low. Turbo finally manages to get rid of the MiG-15, so I'm going to go and try and shake this 163 off of my 262's butt. We pull up on the approach. I'm trying to maintain my speed as best as I can, so if I have to dive out, I can do it. We sneak up, we drop a couple long distance shots. He pulls away. Try and stick with him with my really good roll rate. We get a crit, we take his wing off. That is enough to put him out of the fight. Now, he is going to keep trying to fly for a little bit, but there is no way in hell he is going to be fighting. So at this point, I kind of ignore him because I know I have other people to fight. So I go ahead and I keep my speed. I start climbing up just in case I know there's another MiG-15. I know there's a couple 163s left. Now I can tell you one thing. If there's one thing that you can count on when you're flying in the 8.0 range, 8.0 to 9.0 on the Axis side, you can always count on 163s running out of fuel. And that is exactly what's going to happen here in this match because I know that there is two 163s left and they are headed back to base. I see around me that the coast is clear, so I make a decision that I'm going to go ahead and get down and secure my kill real quick on this 163. So I go ahead and roll over and drop back down on top of him. Turbo's got good speed, he's safe, he's undamaged. The 262, he's doing alright. So as we drop down, there's one thing that I can tell you. This 163, even though he's got one wing, he's been flying straight and level, so he should have a pretty good amount of speed behind him. So I'm going to keep my speed up in this dive to make sure that I can catch him. Now 163, it has a lot of power. Yeah, it's a rocket plane, but he's not going to outclimb me straight up. So I just kind of go ahead and sneak up on him. He knows he's dead. It's just securing a kill at this point. Line up a shot. He does a little cancer roll. I try to time it right, and there it is. And now, like I said, you can always count on 163s running out of fuel. Meanwhile, the enemy team is sitting here wondering how the hell these tides changed, just like this. They had the upper hand, they had the numbers, and we managed to swing them in our favor. Now this next part, obviously we are going to finish off the team on the runway. I'm sure a couple of you will probably end up smashing that dislike button for this, but unfortunately this is part of the game. I'm sorry if you guys don't like it. It is, and I'll tell you what, nobody's really going to give me the decency to be able to land. I got strafed so many times. Fuel management goes a long ways. You saw that I actually had to manage it. I had to land. You know, we worked together as a team to try and make sure that the airfield was clear. It's a difficult part of this game, and I'm sorry if you disagree with me, but you know, when you fly like min-fuel Sabres and min-fuel MiGs, these are the risks that you run. I even accepted that risk when I take the G91 out with min-fuel. 9 minutes, it's not a lot. Now you can climb to altitude and you'll make it draw out a little bit longer. Now I understand in the case of the 163 you don't really have any other fuel load options, but for the guys that are flying the Sabres at 7 minutes fuel, for the guys that are flying the MiGs with min fuel as well, I don't like hearing you guys complain about getting strafed on the runway, because you could have taken 20 minutes of fuel. And yes, it doesn't turn the same, but you can manage. There are plenty of pilots that have learned how to fly with 20 minutes of fuel, and that's the way to do it. Now, I accept the risk when I fly this plane because I have problems ripping it when I have 20 minutes of fuel on board. So, that's just my 2 cents on it, guys. I'm sorry if you disagree. I don't think you're going to change my mind on that one. So we're going to go ahead and close this up. I'm going to leave you guys with a little bit of footage just as a complete game. I'm just going to cut it off at the end because there wasn't a whole hell of a lot going on at the very end of the match. But G91 in a nutshell. Good low-end acceleration, poor top speed, or at least it takes forever to get to your top speed. It is extremely nimble. It can turn with any Sabre, but you just have to be careful that when you get down sub like 500, 400 kilometers an hour, you are not going to be turning as well. So keep that in mind and be careful. Do not pull too many G's when you're doing around 800 kilometers an hour. And I highly recommend running min fuel in it. Yes, it's a risk, but when you run 20 minutes of fuel, it actually is a lot easier to rip, and I'll be honest, I do it way too often. So enjoy the rest of the footage, guys. I hope you learned something today. I know we touched a little bit of the energy trap, and we definitely went over the overall performance of this aircraft. So it's a very fun aircraft, but I'll tell you what, it is going to be an absolute pain in the ass if you get up tiered against MiG-19s. We'll touch that in the next video. MiG-19 is utterly broken right now, and this aircraft should not in any way, shape, or form ever be facing the MiG-19. And especially not at its current performance levels. You thought the MiG-19 PT was broken? MiG-19S is even more broken. But like I said, that's the next video, and we'll cover that in a little bit. If you haven't already, like, comment, subscribe. Leave me questions because I will always try to answer your questions in the comments. Until next time, we'll see you around.
Attention to the